All right, so first and foremost, we're going to start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole elect, starting at the 144,000 Salawam. All right, so I want to get this lesson. This lesson been on my spirit for a couple days now. You know, a little bit I've been knocking out other lessons, but today I want to go into it because later I'm going to go live as well on the other page. But I want to tie this lesson, Heirs, right? Heirs, and let's start it off by going into a definition, right? So we'll go to the start. I'm pretty sure that we're going to go to Romans 8 and 17, right? Before we read it, we're going to look at the definition of heirs, right? So heirs, the word is
Strong's G 2818, kleronamas, kleronamas.
Kleronamas, right? And it says one who receives by lot and heir. In messianic usage, one who receives his allotted possession by right of sonship, one who has acquired or obtained a portion allotted unto him, right? The strong definition says kleronamas from in the base of G3551 in its original sense of partially getting by apportionment, a sharer by lot, inheritor, right? By implication, a possessor, heir, right? One who receives by lot, hence, and heir, right? So mainly the point is, and they got some precepts right here. Let's see what these precepts says. They got some precepts right here. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him. Let us seize on his inheritance." Right? We're going to go to Galatians 4. Right? Let's do Mark 12. Right? Mark 12 and 7 says, "But those husbandmen said among themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us." That's kind of the same precept in different book and different that we read in Matthew's. "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours." Right? It said Luke 20:24. But when the husband saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, that the inheritance may be ours." Right? And let's see all Luke 20. Let's see how shall I talk when it's in red, right? I thought verse 13 said, "Then said the Lord of the vineyard, What shall I do? I will send my beloved son. It may be they will reverence him when they see him. But when the husband saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, that the inheritance may be ours." So they cast him out of the vineyard and killed him. What therefore shall the Lord of the vineyard do unto them? He shall come and destroy those husbandmen, and shall give the vineyard to the others. When they heard it, they said, Yahweh forbid. And beheld them and said, What is this then? It is written, The stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner. All right, you know who's the head of the corner? Yahweh Shah, right? What did they do to Yahweh Shah, right? Most High says prophets, Most High sent prophets, right? By the fact, I want to go to Luke 20. The Most High sent his prophets, the Most High sent the disciples, right? And the people continue just killing and stoning, right? And when he sent Yahweh Shah, what they do? They did the same thing to him, right? But when they did that to him, what happened? He the head of our cornerstone. He's the head, right? So this is Luke 20, right? And I started verse 1, right? And it's like it's the spirit, because I wasn't even, going to go in this way, but Lord willing, we're going to it, right? We'll read it in the KJV in the NLT, right? Let's see. Let's break it up right here. We'll go back and forth with it, right? So it's Luke 20, right? And it says, I'm right here in the KJV, right? On the KJV side, right? It says, "And it came to pass that one of those days as he taught the people in the temple," and then he's talking about Yahushua, right? "And preached the gospel, and the chief priests and the scribes came upon him with the elders, and spake unto him, saying, Tell us what authority dost thou these things, or is he that gives thee this authority, right? And understand that Yahweh sent Yahweh Shai down here to do these things, to teach with the 100% truth. Because you had these people down here teaching their own doctrines, following the ways of the other nations. You had wicked scribes and Pharisees doing these unrighteous things, right? Those hypocrites, teaching people to be perfect through the law. But that's Yahweh Shai coming to tell them that, hey, right, hey, I came to fulfill the law, right? You know, that's why Yahweh Shai knew he had to lay down, right? Because most I was taught about burnt offerings. So he's telling them, hey, we say by faith and grace, you can't keep the law perfect, right? You know, no man, the only person who walked earth perfect was Yahweh Shai, right? So it says, he answered, said to them, I will also ask you one thing, answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or from men? Because John was baptizing people, but that was a prelude to what Yahweh Shai was going to do. Yahweh Shai was cleaning us through the word, that faith and grace, believing on him, understanding he was sent from the Father unto us. But John was giving a prelude. His word is what cleanses us, right? That's why John said, this is one who come after me, but is preferred before me, right? He was giving the preludes for Yahweh Shai was going to do. Yahweh Shai was baptizing through the word. That's the true baptism. His word is what cleanses us, right? It's 100% truth. It's understanding. And they reason with themselves, saying, we shall say from heaven. Will he say, why then believe ye him not? But and if we say of men, all the people will stone us, for they be persuaded that John was a prophet. And they answered that they could not tell what it was. And Yahweh Shai said unto them, neither I tell you by what authority I do these things. Right? He said, then began he to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard, right, and let it go forth. And we understand it. Isaiah 5:4, right, refers to us as that vineyard as well, right? So Yahweh Shai, it's like Yahweh putting that vineyard, putting that seed, which also means Yahweh Shai is that seed, and we're the branches that grow off that seed, right? Yahweh planted it and it sprouted up. We're those branches that sprout off, right? You have righteous branches, you have unrighteous branches. The unrighteous branches, guess what? They get cut off and they're gonna be destroyed, right? But get back to it. He said, then began he to speak a parable to the people. He said, a man planted a vineyard and let it forth to the husbandman, right? The husbandman is just like a farmer, and went into a far country for a long time, right? It says, and at the season he sent a servant to the husbandman that they should give him of the fruit of the vineyard, but the husbandman beat him and sent him away, right? And again he sent another servant, and they beat him also. He entreated him shamefully and sent him away empty-handed. And again he sent a third, and they wounded him also and cast him out. Right? What is that showing you? Right? When the Most High sent the prophets, the disciples, he sent a sincere man to teach the truth. What did Jeremiah say? Jeremiah said, they mocking me, so I don't want to teach the truth no more. Right? They mock him, they insult him. Right? The Most High sent his prophets to that vineyard was to Israel. Right? Because the things that are made known to you, and that's the spirit, because like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go into a lesson later on a live sit down. It's going to be titled I got a title, they stagger not from wine, they stagger not from strong drink. Because Jake is ignorant. Jake following the ways of the nation. Jake following the ways of Esau Edom, to when the prophets, the sincere truth coming to them, they despise them, they hate them. Right? That's why I said, man, there's no cloak for your sin, because these people are coming to you. Right? That's what Isaiah 5:4 said, what more can I do to my vineyard? Meaning what? The Most High gave us the law and commandments. He gave us these things for us to separate ourselves and be righteous. Right? Even he understood the first covenant was void, so that's why he sent Yahweh Shai. He knew that people couldn't keep the law perfect, so he sent Yahweh Shai. They still didn't believe. The scripture said he came into his own received him not. But it continue reading on, it says, and again he sent a third, and they wounded him also and cast him out. Then said the Lord of the vineyard, what shall I do? I will send my beloved son, right? It was Yahweh sent Yahweh Shai down here, right? It may be they will reverence him when they see him. So he sent Yahweh Shai down here, right? to redeem us, right? To bring us the 100% truth. But what do people do? But when the husbandmen saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and this is spirit too, right? Because you see what Yahweh Shai had to face. That's what we're going to get back to Romans 8:7, right? 8:17, Slaki, right? He says, if hair, then the hair of Yahweh, then joint hairs with Yahweh Shai, is also be that we suffer with him. You see the things that Yahweh Shai, the prophets, man, face before us. So therefore, we got to suffer these things. We got to endure these things. We got to go through these things in order to inherit that kingdom, right? We're going to go to Galatians 4 as well and talk about it, right? You know, we're going to get to it. We'll get to a Lord willing, right? But it says, come, let us kill him, and the inheritance may be ours. Right? So they wanted to get rid of it. That's why you think they was telling the apostles, Peter and the apostles, hey, stop teaching them their name. Because they wanted to get rid of your house. So they wanted to get rid of that doctrine. They wanted to make themselves like they was right. Right? They want to make they didn't want to seem wrong. They didn't want to seem like they were teaching bullshit. Right? They want to seem right. So they want to try to kill your house, try to get rid of his doctrine. Get rid of it. No, you're gonna go, you're gonna make it to heaven. You're gonna make it to heaven, you listen to us. This was today. These Christians, but all these other things, they want to try to get rid of this truth. Right? To make themselves sound good, but guess what? You can't stop it. You can't stop. What that he had righteous Pharisees in Acts 5. What did righteous Pharisees say? If this ministry be of men, it will come to naught. Really paraphrasing. But if it be of Yahweh, you cannot overthrow it. This ministry is for me. How about how shall you cannot overthrow it? Right? It says, verse 15. But if I want to read this in verse 14, he says, when the tenant farmer saw his son, they said to each other, here comes the heir to the estate. Let's kill him and get the estate for ourselves. So they dragged him out of the vineyard, murdered him. What do you suppose the owner of the vineyard would do to them? Yahweh asked. He said, he shall come and destroy the husbandman, right? And shall give the vineyard to others. And when they heard it, they said, Yahweh forbid, right? He said, and behold them, and beheld them, and said, what is it then that is written? The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. Who is the head of the corner? Yahweh Shah, man. Right? They rejected Yahweh Shah. And guess what? They killed him, and he became, Philippians chapter 2. His name is exalted above every name above the earth. Right? The Most High has put the world to come and suggestions to him. Because what he did, he did a sacrifice. He did the will of Yahweh Shah. He did exactly what Yahweh set him to do, man. Right? It said, whosoever shall fall upon that stone shall be broken. Whosoever it shall fall, it will grind him into powder. Right? It said, and the chief priests and the scribes, the same hour sought to lay hands on him. They feared the people, for they perceived that he had spoken this parable against them. Right? And now it's starting to hit him. Hebrews 4:20 is truth. Like a 2-edged sword, man. It hit deep. Right? He said, and they watched him and sent for spies, which should feign themselves just men, that they might take hold of his words, so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. And they asked him, saying, Master, we know that thou sayest and teachest rightly, neither acceptest thou person of any, but teachest the way of Yahweh truly. Is it lawful for us to give tribute unto Caesar or no? Right? But that's kind of really the point I want to get to. But the point being right there, how they reject the Yahweh Shah or whatnot. And Yahweh Shah sent sent prophets. He sent, sincere men. You got teachers in the truth doing lessons each and every day, but they constantly reject them, constantly go against them, constantly mock them, right? And when they did see Yahweh Shah, they constantly try to kill him. But they kill Yahweh Shah. They don't just physically try to kill the system in the truth today, but you see how they try to come at it, overthrow it, make us look at doing evil works, right? And understanding that leads back to the lesson, right? We gotta endure all those things, because why? The builder what they rejected, what became the headstone of the corner, right? The same thing that Yahweh Shah, same thing he did to Yahweh Shah, made him exalted above every name on the earth, right? So if we want to be heirs, if we want to inherit that kingdom, if we want to inherit that righteousness, right? Guess what? We got to endure the same thing Yahweh Shah went to. So let's go back to Romans, right? Let's go back to Romans. Chapter 8, right? Verse 17 says, and if children, right? In Hebrews, that's sons, right? If sons, right? Verbatim, if sons, right? If children, then heirs of Yahweh, and joint heirs with him, Mashiach Yahweh Shah. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together. So we have to do the suffering. You seen what the prophet, you seen what Yahweh Shah went through. You read Luke 20. They coming against him. They going against, they start to kill him, right? So we got to endure the suffering. We got to endure the pain. It's a lot that come with this truth. When I was thinking about doing this lesson just now, I was thinking about the brother lesson, the elder brother I just watched probably about a week ago, and it was titled, the elect are undergoing the biggest humiliation ritual ever, because we're looking crazy, we're looking dumb, we've been despised, we've been, we look at those weak ones, we facing the thing, we're not of this world, right? Anybody who's not chasing the fame, the glory, the money of this world, you look crazy, you look stupid. If you don't believe in JC, I think it's such, you look crazy, man. So we're undergoing that, we're enduring that. We're enduring the hardship, we're enduring the pain, right? So going from there, I'm gonna go to Galatians. And Slacky, I ain't really plan on this being long like that. I just had a few preachers. I want to hit Romans and I want to hit Galatians, right? And I might read this in the NLT as well a little bit too, right? So it's Galatians 4:1. It says, oh, I'm gonna hit second Ezra as well, right? This is Galatians 4:1. It says, now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differ nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, right? But is under tutors and governors at the time appointed the Father, right? And I was thinking about this the other day when I was wanting to go into this lesson, right? So I was thinking of an analogy, right? So it's like if a man owned a business, he got sons, right? So and and each of the sons, you know, basically the son who do all the things he supposed to of the business, learn all the ways of the business, the good, the bad, the ugly, who endure it all, right, is going to receive the business. So you got the one son who don't care about it at all. He just don't care. You got the other son who he tried it, right, but when things got hard, when things got tough, he fell away. Right? He like, nah, I ain't doing all that, man. It's what it is. But you got the one son who what? Was the elect, the ones who endure everything, who endure the suffering, who endure the hardship, who endure the pain. So who you think is going to get the business? Right? You think he's gonna give it to that son just because that's his middle child, that's his baby boy, he like him? No, he giving it to the son who what? Who endured all the pain, all the suffering, all the hardship, who endured all the things that come with this business so that he can run it correctly. Well, that's the same way with the kingdom of Yahweh Shah. That's why even going back to the garden with the serpent, the Most High said he let Adam Eve be the seed. So now we know good and evil. Now we can be a proper God. So now you know good and evil. Are you going to separate the good and the evil, or are you just going to do the? Because in this world you have quote unquote free will. It's a test. Yahweh Shah mercy is upon us to see who going to do that suffering, who going to stay focused on that narrow passage. See the Christians, they don't see that. They think they can just go out and do what they want and they come to church Sunday and pray. No, man. It's the narrow passage that we focus on, right? We're going to get to second Ezra. It said this passage is so small that one man can go at a time. You got things on the right, things on the left. One slip, you going off. One slip, you cook. So you got to stay focused, walk circumspectly on this passage, right? So it says, verse 3, it says, even so, when we were children, right, we're in bondage under the elements of the world. That's why when you come into this truth, you have to desire the sincere milk, man. When you come to the truth, you have to desire the sincere milk of Yahweh Shah. You can't come to the truth thinking you know everything. Right, because everything we still are in corruption, but you have to become a spiritual man in the truth. The brother just sent a lesson of a dude, I can't think his name, but he was in the truth, but he went back to the world. He in gang life and all that now, right? He in gang life now. He in gang life and all that now, right? That's the elements of the world. That's the word that's what Jake bondage to. Jake bondage to the elements of the world. So when you come to the truth, you gotta desire that sensitive milk to becoming a spiritual man. You gotta grow all the way up again, no matter how old you is. John chapter 3, right? You gotta once again, for the business, you gotta endure all things. You gotta sit back and take notes. You can't be in here trying to tell them what to do. Even though this is for us, even though we have this, we gotta sit back and learn. You gotta submit yourselves to the elders, man. You gotta sit back and learn the ways, right? So it says, but when the fullness of the time was come, Yahweh sent forth his son, made of a woman under the law, right? To redeem them that were under the law, you might receive the adoption of son. Because why? Right? Under the law, our people couldn't keep the law perfect. Right? We couldn't keep the law perfect. You can't because we in imperfect bodies. That's why I went into this a few days ago about how, the second covenant and understand the second covenant, how we're going to be changed. And the only thing that happened with the second covenant, right, is that Yahweh Shai laid down for us and drawn his blood for us. Right? In due time, when the second covenant is fully in effect, we're going to be changed to spiritual bodies. The laws of covenant are written in our hearts and minds. But right now, the Most High is seeing who's going to endure, who's seeing who's going to stay focused, right? Who's going to stay fast in the faith, right? Who's going to contend in the righteous faith? Who's going to put out the way of this world, right? Who's going to stay focused on His will, what He said for us to do? Who's going to glorify and magnify His name, right? Not the ones who's going to fall in love with the money, the cars, the clothes, the way of this world. Not the ones who gonna do who rather be seen good inside of men instead of pressing inside of Yahweh Shah. He's not dealing with them. That's why he's dealing with the elect. And those are the ones who are gonna what? Inherit the kingdom. Because the other ones are not fit for the kingdom, man. That's why Yahweh Shah got the knowledge being blocked from them, because they're not fit from it, man. I always say, man, certain people, they had this knowledge, they would sell it. They would the prophecy and whatnot. They would go into Esau them sellers, make Esau them like they know what they talk about. Because all Esau don't have the 100% truth. They can't be able to break down the prophecies, things that said. The elders just going into that Saturday, Isaiah 19:1. You know, they can't understand that when he said he coming to clouds, it's talking about the chariot into Egypt, and that Egypt is referring to spiritual Egypt, which is America, which is Babylon, right? Spiritual Babylon, right? They don't understand that. But that's for the elect to understand that. That's the ones who are going to inherit the kingdom, because why? They're able to run that business correctly. They adhere, right? They under tutored until the time pointed from the Father, right? That's why he said he hold back those four winds until the elect, until his name received, until that 144,000 foreheads. The elect are being built up. The elect are being molded into spiritual men of Yahweh Shem Shai. So that when time comes, boom, be ready, right? And you don't need to have to do this and that. That's why the rest of Israel gonna be brought back to the kingdom through the elect seed, that righteous seed, right? Because right now these people are wild. They're going off. You think they're gonna inherit the kingdom? You think they're just gonna come back and Most High just gonna give them the kingdom gonna have spiritual powers, all this thing? The Most High just gonna give them that? You think if your father had the business and you ain't learned nothing of the business, just because you're his son, he's gonna give you the business gonna go downhill. But the same with this kingdom, man. The Most High don't deal with the ones who endure the suffering, who endure the pain, and endure everything that comes with this truth. So therefore, we'll be ready for the kingdom. Matter of fact, I quote it, but I'm gonna go to real fast. Genesis 3, right here, verse 5, right? It says, "For Yahweh doeth knoweth, and that day ye eat thereof," meaning what? Once you learn the way of evil, right? Because back it was known as the sons of power. We ain't know no evil. So when she learned that they eat, meaning learn. For Yahweh doeth knoweth the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as powers, be as gods, right? Because what did not say that? And what is that? Psalms 82. Also in that Matthew 10, if I'm not mistaken, or John, I think it's Matthew 10:34. Yahweh shall say, "Have I not said you are gods?" Right? Knowing good and evil. So the Most High let us go off. So now we can know the ways of good and evil. And who's gonna separate it? Because the things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us. Who's gonna separate it? Who's gonna do the righteous works? Right? So going back to Galatians, right, 4:1, continue reading. It says, "And because you are sons, Yahweh has sent forth the Spirit of His Son, the Kakadas, the Holy Spirit." That's why the Spirit only comes upon the elect, the Spirit of truth, right? What is it? John 16:13, right? It says, "Howbeit, when He, the Spirit of truth, is come, He will guide you into all truth. For He shall not speak of Himself, but whatsoever He shall hear, that He shall speak, He will show you things to come." The 100% truth, man, right? The 100% truth. Right, and the Most High says that Spirit unto the prophets, right? The mouth of the Lord announces prophets. And we learn these things. Why you can't come to truth think you know more than them. You can't come to the truth. When you come to truth, you obey. You can't come to truth think you know a lot. The dude think he knew more than what he knew. The Most High exposed him. He humbled him. Look at him now. He back in the world. Because what? He can't run the business. He can't what? If the business left in charge of him, the business would have crumbled. Right? So, and you see Isaiah 91. That's like Isaiah 1:9. Let me think of that, right? What the Most High say? If it wasn't for the elect, if it wasn't for the remnant, if it wasn't for the remnant who sat down and took the notes, who did everything that was set for the business and learned everything of the business the way it's supposed to be ran, we should be like Sodom and Gomorrah. Meaning what? If it wasn't for the elect, those ones who sat down and do the works, how about y'all try to put out the way of the world, who put out the works of all this iniquity, right? Not perfect, but they strive daily, right? Do lessons, do the work, do the will be how about y'all shot. Not talking about no Christian, not calling no JC, right? Who contend the righteous faith of Yahweh Shah Shah, our nation would have been destroyed. So that's why what? The elect are the ones who going to endure it, who going to inherit the kingdom. The elect are those heirs right now. The elect are the ones who going to inherit the kingdom, right? Because of why? They sat down and took the correction and the rebuking that Yahweh Shah put upon us to allow us to get right. Because this is a mercy period. This is a correctional period for us. But Jake don't know that. Jake think he out here doing what he want. If he understood the mercy Yahweh Shah give us, we got the name, right? Our knowledge is coming back to us, right? All that was stripped from us, but now we got it back. So now it's time for us to strive and push within it. So therefore, now the Most High, we can inherit the kingdom. We can inherit the business. But to continue reading on, right? It says, verse 7, right? It says, "Wherefore thou art no more a servant, but a son. right? Because we're not a servant under the law no more. We're wrong. We're servants unto righteousness that continue to strive under the law of Yahweh Shai. We strive to the best of our abilities. Right? We can't keep it perfect, right? But we're not what it's saying Galatians, we're not in the curse of the law no more, right? We're not judged by the law, right? We're judged by faith and grace. You know, we're judged by that faith and grace, believing on Yahweh Shai. And those are the sons of Yahweh Shai. Those are his children. You can't say his children if you don't know his name, his son's name. You can't say his children if you going into churches calling out JC, worshiping all these other things. You can't say his children. You can't say his children or his sons if you think that you keep laws perfect, right? It says, wherefore thou art no more a servant, right? But a son. And if a son, then an heir of Yahweh through Mashiach. I said we're servants unto righteousness because we're servants unto righteousness because we're striving for the righteousness. Just because the law is done away with, what is that? Matter of fact, let me go to that real fast. Just a quick precept. I think it's Romans 6. Right here, right? I started verse 12. It said, let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey in the lust thereof, right? Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves to Yahweh, as those that are alive from the dead, as your members as instruments of righteousness unto Yahweh. For sin shall have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace. Yahweh Shai, right? What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? Yahweh forbid. We don't just get out here and do what we want. We still strive the law to the best of our ability, but we understand the law we can't keep the law perfect. So it's that faith and the grace and doing the work and doing that thorn in the flesh. The things that we're weak, the things that we're weak on, we get out and strive and we push them, right? Brother might have this, he battle. Brother might have this, he battle. We get up every day and the spirit of Yahweh Shai, we strive in that spirit comes upon us each and every day. Yahweh Shai supplies us with the spirit each and every day to overcome, right? But this is the point right here. Know ye not to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey. His servants ye are to whom ye obey, right? Whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. We're servants unto righteousness. We still strive for righteousness. Even though we're not under the law, we still strive for righteousness. That's why I was saying we're still servants unto righteousness, because we still strive for that righteousness. We still set to obey Yahweh Shai, right? We still set to obey his word, his will, and law he set for us. Don't mean we're not judged by it, but we're going to rehearse the righteous acts. We're not get out here doing whatever we want to do. And we understand we can't keep the law perfect. But it don't mean we go out here and eat pork. It don't mean we go out here. Because that's, come on, man. Come on, man. How you going to say you a son or a child, how about child? You don't respect nothing of him, right? And let's not just respect for fear. That goes into fear. You don't fear him at all because you don't understand his power. Because what? Sin is transgression of the law. What does sin bring forth death? So you ain't doing nothing but killing yourself, man. Right? But getting back to it. Galatians 4. I'm going to go to NLT. Well, I'm read verse 7 on down in NLT, right? It says, howbeit when ye knew not Yahweh, ye did service unto them, which by nature are no powers, right? But now, after you have known Yahweh, now that we know him, right? Now the name's been brought back into us, right? Or rather known of Yahweh, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto you desire to be in bondage? So now that we know the truth, now we know the ways of Yahweh Shai, why would you go back to the world? Why would you go back to the ways of the world? Because he's not a heir, he's not set to be here. He's not fit for this kingdom. He's not fit to run this business. So that's why the heirs are the elect, those men who are going to endure this, who are going to endure the truth, who are going to endure the pain, right? So I'm going to read this in the NLT real fast before I go to the second edges real fast. We'll close it out. This is Galatians 4 in verse 7 on down in NLT. It says, now you are no longer a slave, but Yahweh's own child. And since you are his child, Yahweh has made you his heir. Paul concerned for the Galatians, right? He said, before you Galatians knew Yahweh, because this is Paul writing to the Israelites at Galatia, right? Because Paul couldn't be everywhere, so he write a letter unto them, right? He couldn't go everywhere, so he write a letter unto them. And if you understand, Paul came into the time when the Hellenist period was going on. That's when the people was in the Greek mindset so much. So Paul telling them, like, hey, get right, return back to Yahweh Shai. The way you living, lifestyle you living, right? You living wrong. Well, right? You're not judged by the law. You're just by faith and grace, believing on Yahweh Shai, right? Once you believe on him, right, and you do his will, do his works, you become a heir, right? You become a heir to that. You going what is that? Romans 9:4. You're gonna receive the adaptation. You're gonna receive the kingdom. You're gonna receive the promises. But as long as you follow the way of this world, hey, it's gonna be judgment for you. It says, "For you Gentiles knew Yahweh, you were slaves to so-called gods that do not even exist." These Greek god things and such, right? You were following their ways. You were doing all these things they said you do, but that's not even the way of our people, right? It says, "So that now you know Yahweh," or should I say, now that Yahweh knows you, right? Why do you want to go back again and become slaves or more to the weak, useless spiritual principles of this world, right? So come on, man. You got. That's why once again those heirs of the elect, because those other ones are weak. They're not fit for the business. They can't run the business. They run the business will fall down. Most High can't give the. He can't. He said, "Then shall we know who are my chosen? They should be tried as gold is tried," right? Most High got to see who's gonna stay fast. Most High got to see who ain't gonna quit. Most High got to see who ain't gonna give up, right? So let's go to Second Esdras. Second Esdras chapter 6, one of my favorite chapters, right? Especially when going into this, right? It's like Second Esdras chapter 7, right? Right. So I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse 4, right? It says. I start verse 3. He said, "I speak on my power." Then he said unto me, "The sea is set in a wide place that it might be deep and great. But the entrance, but put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? If you don't go through, if you don't learn the ways of this business, if you don't go through the hardship, learn the pain of it, the good and the bad of it, how can you run the business? How can you be a heir to the kingdom of Yahweh, right? It says, there is also another thing, a city is builded. The city is talking about the kingdom of Yahweh, and set upon a broad field, and it's full of all good things against the kingdom. We're going to have everything in the kingdom. The entrance thereof is narrow, meaning small, and it's said it's a dangerous place to fall, like if there was a fire on the right hand and on the left, a deep water. So you got to learn the good and the bad of this thing, right? This thing is pulling you down. This thing is pulling you left to right, right? You got the way of this world. You got women. You got all these distractions. These spiritual demon doubt. You got Satan trying to come in all these ways, but you're gonna stay focused on narrow patches. Stay focused on Yahweh, walk in the spirit. You should not fulfill the lust thereof. Merely paraphrasing Galatians 5:16, right? It says, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man that go at once. So you gotta take one step at a time, man. You can't be out here like that. You can't be lukewarm. You gotta stay focused. You see what, oh brother, see what happens to the guy who fell out and now he back to the world like once again, gang bang, all type of stuff, man. You gotta stay focused, man. Right? It says, if this city now were given to a man for an inheritance, they were that word as inheritance, right? So if this was given to a man if this city was now given to a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the dangers set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? So who do you think is going to receive the inheritance? Those elect. The elect are those heirs, man. The elect are those ones who are going to receive the inheritance. Because why? They endure the suffering. They endure the pain. They endure the danger set before it, right? They don't quit. They don't take the easy way out. They endure the suffering. They endure the suffering. They endure the pain. They don't quit. They don't give up. They don't fall away when things get hard. Just because the world ain't offering what they thought, right? Remember Elder Apostle Rumla had quoted this a little while ago. A lot of people come to the truth and not know what they're getting into. They think they come to the truth and going to get in, everything in life going to start going good for them. No, when you come to the truth, you got to understand. You're going to see the way this world going to start becoming more boring to you. Things is where you're gonna start seeing why we ready to get out of here. Right? That's why you gotta come to truth and to obey. You gotta be raised up in the righteous way. See, the way you were brought up, you think this world is for you. This world is not for you. We're supposed to go through hardship. You're supposed to go through pain. We're supposed to go through suffering. Right? So reading again, this city now were given to a man for an inheritance. If he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so. Then he said to me, even so also is Israel portion. But for their sakes I made the world. They're going to Eden. Eden means pleasure. The world made it for the pleasure of men. If you understand that, Genesis 2, right? The Garden of Eden. Eden means pleasure. The world was made for our sakes, right? It says, but when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was created and I was done, as I was quoting earlier, right? So when Adam went off, when Eve was deceived by the serpent, later deceived Adam when he went off. Right, the Most High got to see who's gonna stay focused, to see who's gonna stay focused on narrow paths, see who's gonna slip, see who gonna go the way of the evil just because it's easy. Right? What do he say? Then the instance of the world was made narrow, full of sorrow, trivial. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. Right? So understanding that what? So now when Adam went off, now that you know good and evil, the Most High made the passage to the kingdom small. You got it's hardship, it's pain, it's suffering. Let's see who's gonna go now. Because when it was easy, everybody want to do it. But now that it's tough, now that it's hardship, now let's see who's gonna remain focused. And the ones who remain focused are who? It's those elect, that 144,000, man. Wherever the Lamb go, those virgins follow the Lamb go. Those virgins follow the Lamb wherever he goeth. Really paraphrasing, right? Well, that's kind of the point. Go back to verse 8 again, right? Read it one more time, right? It's like chapter 8, verse 17, right? It says, I started verse 16. It says, the Spirit itself bear witness with thy spirit that we are the children of Yahweh, right? And if children, then heirs of Yahweh and joint heirs with the Mashiach Yahweh Shai. If so be that we suffer with him, it's like it. If so be that we suffer with him, that we be also glorified together. So we gotta endure the suffering and the pain. And who are those heirs who are enduring that suffering and pain? The elect. The 144,000 who are doing that and suffering the pain. Because scriptures tell you, Isaiah 30, that the people want to hear the smooth thing. They don't want to hear the hardship. They don't want to hear they want to hear the easy things. But the elect, they want to endure all things. They want to do all things to make sure the business run correct. They want to know the hardship, everything that come with it, right? So with that being said, Lord willing, Holy Vessels edifying and exalting. Right now I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles, the elders, of great millstone. And shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.